To recap, a few episodes ago, I met you for the first time and got to know a bit about yourself, about your society, and some of your amazing first-hand experiences. So, especially like the experience about your dad's spirit as well. That was quite shocking and yeah, very relatable. In many ways, shapes, or form. I've seen similar things myself, and I understand how how much it stays with you. So. And for those who didn't watch the last episode, it really would be good, Patrick, if you don't mind just reintroducing yourself, just tell a bit about what you do, about your society, and then from there we'll just roll into a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good. My name is Patrick Welsh. I'm a junior. My dad's a senior. We call him Papa Smurf. Um, I am the founder and lead investigator of Paranormal Society of Savannah here in Savannah, Georgia. Uh, as a team, we've been together for 6 years. I've been investigating for over 25 years. But it's something I love with a passion, and I love helping people. Uh, Lately we've had a lot of residential cases, and I don't know why that is, but more than triple the amount than we normally get per month.
Wow, yeah, it's quite an exciting thing that you do because when you investigate, do you investigate more from like the technological side, as in like trying to build evidence, or you're more there just as a first-hand experiencer kind of thing, like experiencing it with your friends?
So if we're doing a residential case, then we're, trying to help the individual there get some answers as to why this is happening, or what it could be, potential. Are they doing something that they shouldn't? Did they bring something in unexpectedly? Did someone pass away? Or, are they doing a lot of drugs? And that could be the case. As far as like what we call pay to play. So like say you go to Waverly Hills and they charge $800. Those type of investigations there are the ones I think that we try to do as a team. Not only is it cheaper, but we get to show off some of our skills and learn from one another. And we also get to learn from other paranormal investigators when we're on investigations like that. So it's a win-win.
So I don't know enough about the tech side, to be honest with you, because I went was it to Oxford Castle a couple of years ago, and this person joined us, Barri Ghai, and I don't know if you know him. He's quite a well-known celebrity in the UK. He's like a paranormal investigator, not really like a medium or a psychic in any way though. But I think he does have some sort of a skill like that though. But he's more from like the evidential kind of side of things. So when I was there, I was like, I had no idea what was going on. I just thought, okay, I'm just going with the flow and seeing what he does. And you had these little they call them like cat balls, like things that light up when they move or they pick up certain frequencies, and they had this kind of like EMF device just picking up electromagnetic frequency things,
Like
and
EVS.
EVS, yes, and they're recording. Oh, I can't even think of the word now. They're trying to try and record kind of spirit voices on this ultra high kind of sensitivity microphone. Like, but I still have no idea how any of these things work. So like I say, do you have like a go-to device basically? And like, for anyone who's watching this who doesn't really know much about that kind of thing, like, would you be able to explain kind of how that works as well and how you kind of use it in your investigations?
Yeah, so a lot of the, if you want to say go-to devices that we use, is basically number one is our phone, because it has, there's a couple apps. We have probably downloaded 100 apps, and there's three or four that we really love to use on our phone. And then of course we love our voice recorders. There's a couple that we like to use that they're very sensitive, and they pick up things that we normally didn't hear, or our microphone didn't pick up, but it picks up. Voice activation is always the best when using something like that. And then of course just a basic 4K camera. That's our go-to stuff. Now we do use REM pods and things like that, but REM pods and K2 meters or EMF meters can be easily manipulated, by your phone by accident, really, a lot of times. That's why you always want to keep your phone on airplane mode whenever you're investigating, so that you don't contaminate any of the devices, such as a REM pod or anything like that. Now, some of the things that I really always bring out, especially if it's a residential case, is a tri-field meter. A tri-field meter is more of a scientific device that'll pick up any electronic energy or magnet in the atmosphere, in the air, or along the walls or whatnot. Um, but those are the ones I like using. And then I also like using the grid, especially if there's a long hallway. I love just pointing a little link grid, you know. Now I've got 3 or 4 different types. I've got the regular basic, you know, $10. And then I've got the ones that record movement, they record temperature, um, that gives an alarm when it breaks the grids and things, whatever. All that there. Do you need it? No, but it's fun to have once you get more experienced. But what we like to tell all the new people just kind of starting out is just use your phone, get you a good voice activated recorder, you know, and a little 4K camera, and you're set, you know.
I tend to, when I go in these investigations, like going kind of, raw essentially, just okay, what are my senses picking up, and trying to then, whenever I see things, try and break things apart. Okay, well, is it? I know the brain at certain points, like when you look at clouds, for example, you see faces and shapes in the cloud. Like your brain is designed to fill in data when there's missing data, essentially. And so I do realise there's part of that when it comes to human perception. So at least when you record something, it's almost empirical kind of thing. Okay, well, we can repeat that over and over. And like, for example, like a voice recording, you can play it to your friends and all that, though it's very hard to describe things that you see in, firsthand. But I found in those experiences, it's almost like when there are so many people in the room at the same time, like the energy builds and builds and builds. And I don't know whether that can also taint the interpretation of a situation, or helps to build up. But either way, I always feel things kind of build up so much that I begin to see things. And last time I was at Oxford Castle, I saw like a hand. Basically downstairs, there's like I'll have to send you photos, Patrick, anyway. But there's like a crypt at the bottom of Oxford Castle, and it's not a very high ceiling though. So there are big kind of archways, and there's about I think about 13 pillars underneath, and it's when we're doing the investigation, it's quite dimly lit though, so we have like different devices, and I don't even know what they are, I'll be honest with you, but I'm just there with my senses picking things up. And I saw then like an arm come from behind this pillar, and it looked like a female hand, and it had like a cloth just behind it. It was just for like a moment, it reached around and then immediately pulled back and disappeared. I immediately ran straight to it to see if there was anything behind there, and there was nobody in the corner. But I was kind of questioning in those situations, like, did I imagine it? Is it because I wanted to see it? Is it because I'm, being affected by the additional energy of people getting excited and being in the investigation? Or was that a pure witness kind of situation? So, like, when your guys kind of see something, like, how do you normally kind of break down a situation? Basically, do you simply just go, okay, like, hey, I've recorded it, or okay, we don't have any evidence of what you've just explained there, but you've seen it. So, what would you guys normally do in that situation?
So what we typically do, a lot of times we'll have, you can go buy these little temperature guns, right? Like the HVAC people use, the air conditioner people use. They're like $20. Those are real nice to have, especially because the cold spots are usually where you're going to confirm, okay, there's something that was there. I saw something, and then you go over, and if it still feels cool, then of course you got your temperature device. That's why EDI meter, those are real nice to have. You can walk over with those, and it'll tell you the temperature as it changes from where you are to where you go to, and it gives immediate readings. And then you can, of course, record that as well. Those are, to me, the best devices to use for something like that. And I think some of the stuff, I think it's called Paradolia, I think, where you're talking about, you know what I mean? Like you see something in the window, but it could be the shadow from the way the sun is hitting the bushes and the bush bouncing up.
Yes, yeah. It's like I think it's like simulacra is the word. So it's like the pareidolia or simulacra, where the brain fills in like a missing image or missing data.
Yeah, but something like what you experienced. Now, if there wasn't a lot of shadows or there wasn't a lot of light, And if there was no one like moving around a lot, you know what I mean? Like a lot of activity, like everyone was just sitting there and you happen to see this behind you and there's no windows with any light is reflecting or coming in, or anything like that. Hey man, I think you got some good evidence there. You know what I mean? I think stuff like that. Now your mind can play tricks on you, and I've had that happen numerous times where I had to walk up on it, and it's like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, it's the light blinking from the microwave that's actually hitting this, that's making that little red light glow that I thought was eyes, or something. So
But it's good to have a certain amount of skepticism because there's always a hope that you might capture something, but you kind of have to go there, I suppose, neutral in a way because we've had instances before we're recording some EVPs and we actually did get some unexplained EVP evidence, and but one of them was quite striking, and we had to work out kind of okay, what was the cause, where was, and long story short, a member of the crew managed to break wind at the wrong moment in the wrong place. So so sometimes things like that do happen as well, though. But I mean, in a way, it's good just to kind of cross that off. Okay, well, we think we can explain this, and then it kind of helps you kind of at least learn from those situations to maybe kind of realize, okay, this is what I need to do to react to a situation when it does happen. So we even had a lady on a couple of episodes ago. She had this interaction with this. She called it more of a spirit of a child, and she was recording in this dictaphone thing. She was doing some research for this ancestry thing. She was talking in this piece, and this little boy kept coming into the room and asking her questions. She was getting really annoyed, saying, "Just leave me alone. I'm just trying to do my job." And he kept speaking and speaking, and she kept saying, "Look, I'm trying to record this. Can you let me just do my job?" And she got really quite irritated. But long story short, it went on for quite a while, and she went to leave this room, came back a moment later, and the boy disappeared, but there was nowhere for him to go. And the weird thing was, when she listened to the recording later that evening, she could hear herself talking on the recording, and her talking to the boy saying, "Can you just stop talking, please?" But his voice wasn't on there, and he was stood right next to her, and he was very much audible. It's the strangest thing. So I do kind of question without disrespecting her as well, it could be an imaginary thing, it could be a reaction, but why would she imagine that? She seems like a very grounded person. But at least sometimes having evidence helps you to identify, okay, what could be the cause of that? It doesn't mean it's not paranormal though, but it might mean that it's simply a frequency that it wasn't picking up because the frequency of the living tends to resonate within a certain frequency set, and then obviously anything beyond that tends to be less human. So, but yes, that's why it's so amazing we have all these devices nowadays. Sorry, you go ahead.
no, you're fine. Yeah, a lot of the devices, today are just for show. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's how the ghost hunters on TV get paid. They use a device, and next thing you know, they're getting kickbacks or sponsorships or whatever for it. And that's how they make their money. People think that you make a ton of money on TV, and you don't. I can tell you, I've been on TV shows and stuff, and you don't get paid anything. Where you make your money is by going to the conventions or either doing investigations that you want to do publicly, or again, help sponsor someone's piece of equipment that they made. So luckily for Zach and those guys, they made the REM pod famous in the K2 meter, them and Ghost Adventure guy.
Yeah.
So
I've seen Zach. Was it Zach Baggins? I've seen him on TV a few times. Actually, he's a very intense character. Actually, I wonder if he feeds into those experiences though, because if he's amplifying it, I don't know. But he's very good at making it entertaining.
yeah, the first 3 or 4 years, I'd say 5 years, it was great. He was great. They were fun to watch. And then I think it kind of went to his head, and people say what they want to say, but I still enjoy watching them. I don't think they're as entertaining as they once were, because they were really having a lot of fun with it. Asking people on the street, hey, you want to go on a ghost hunt and stuff like that. That's what I like. I don't like seeing the same people do it because they've got a pattern of how they do, and they know what has to sell on TV. These people that are just off the street, that's what I love watching whenever they were helping and doing things like that. So have you had any recent experiences that you were like, you couldn't go to sleep? You just, you were, it messed with you so bad that, I don't know, it took you a couple of days to kind of say, okay, this is why I do what I do.
I spoke to people about, Malcolm Robinson. We had a few episodes ago. Like he's very much like known as being this like UFO investigator, but he's had these amazing poltergeist experiences though. And there's one that did kind of shake me up. He told me about essentially he was in this essentially it was an experience that was set up, and he'd worked with people before that have kind of been frauds basically. But this thing like. I would call it more of a poltergeist experience, like the higher end, where he witnessed a face coming through the cloth, a voice bellowing out in the room, like very loud, and this set of drawers levitating. And like, if I saw that myself, I think I'd have a heart attack though. But Malcolm being Malcolm, like he's like a burly kind of Scottish guy, like nothing scares him, like he just carries on, no problem. But that kind of reminded me, like years and years ago, I had this encounter with this kind of entity that I met in the hospital when I had this big accident, and this thing used to kind of harass me in the hospital. Like it's this dark creature. I don't know if people do tend to see a similar thing. Interestingly enough, I've noticed through having this podcast as well. It's like a dark creature, and it's like it looks like burnt skin, but it's not burnt. It's like it's grown that way. But either way, like a dark, tall creature with white glowing eyes. And it's something that kind of followed me out of the hospital for years and years. But what shook me up recently was getting an understanding of the situation more, because there's something about that my mum didn't tell me about. And before the accident happened, my mum has a friend. Like we had this friend of the family back in Oxford years ago. Like we were good friends with this Muslim family. They're so sweet. They were from Morocco, and but the mum, she was clearly a medium. Despite her religions and beliefs being what they are anyway, she was still that. She had an insight, but I didn't know that at the time because I was only a kid. But this lady like had a dream about 2 days before my accident happened, and it was a dream about an exact location in Oxford, and it was the exact place where it happened, at the side of this road by this traffic light. She had this dream where she saw this man stand at the side of the road with a little cap on. Like she described to my mum, like she had this this dream, and described the clothes this man was wearing, like very old-fashioned clothes, and very specific details. And she told my mum about this, and my mum didn't think much of it. And 2 days later, my accident happened in that exact same spot. But I didn't know that until now. I'm nearly 40 now. I didn't know that all these years, because my mum, it's almost like she put that at the back of her mind because it's almost too frightening. But her friend felt so horrible because she felt like, okay, she knew a bit more or was able to understand it better. Would she have been able to prevent that situation happening? But some people have these prophetic dreams, and that really shook me up when I heard that a few days ago, because that made me reframe it. Because the amazing thing about that was the person she described, and this is a person that she never met, was my granddad. My granddad died just before I was born. Yeah, my granddad died just before I was born. And she just, so basically she described the clothes that this man was wearing. And my mum said, okay, that's my dad. Like, why are you having a dream about my dad? And then suddenly that happened. So what would you say to that, Patrick, anyway? Like, have you ever heard anything like that before?
Yeah. Has he visited you since then, or just the one time?
He's visited me a few times in my life. He's almost like, because I inherited his name. He was from Poland originally. He's Stanislav anyway, so that's my middle name. Hence why I got the nickname Stan.
Stan, gotcha.
But he's visited me a few times in my life where more so when I'm in a bad situation, like when things are kind of going a bit wrong and all that. I have a dream about him. But yeah, he's somebody I've never met, because he died about 2 months before I was born. But the story goes in my family. Again, it's similar to the deathbed confessions that Christine was talking about a few days ago. Like on his way out, he tends to have quite a common experience where he can feel the family kind of speaking to him and such. But the weird thing was, he said, okay, to my mum, okay, I know you're going to have a boy, basically. Like, my mum didn't know what gender I was going to be then anyway. And he described me in detail, like what I would look like and the person I was going to be. And all of it came true, like many years later. And, it's weird. So me and my granddad, strangely, like, even though he's over there, I've had this funny link through my life. And, like, there are times, like, when I've been in danger, really, like, and he's come forward in a dream or sometimes in a vision of some sort, just like nudging me. It's not like you can do the work for me. He's like saying, okay, you need to do it yourself, okay, but I'm gonna, yeah. So it's interesting. So yeah, that's completely shaken me recently because it's made me reframe that whole situation. Like, because what I remember before the accident happened, I heard somebody say in my ear, "You're not meant to be here." And I always wondered, like, who was that? Who was saying that to my ear? And I was thinking, was that my granddad trying to warn me just before it all happened? So yeah,
Yeah, it probably was.
it's an amazing mystery. So I'll solve it one day eventually, though. But yeah, freaky.
I've had a couple similar experiences where my grandfather, if he was alive today, he'd be 126, 127. But
It's a good
the
age.
first time, yeah, I was 17 or 18. He died when I was 16, and I was in a very bad place as a teenager, in high school and stuff, and uh, was very, very depressed and, thought I didn't want to, live anymore and stuff or whatever, and was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about doing something bad. And I, I remember he came to me in my dream, and he came to my dream and he said, your mama needs you. Don't, don't do this to her. Don't do this to your mama. She really needs you. And what was weird was in the same night, one of my mom's best friends, who passed away of cancer, came to me and said, hey, this would, this will kill your mom, and so I've related, and there's been a few times where I've been kind of in a, I don't know, like a real depressed state for, whatever reasons, life in general or whatnot. And my grandfather sometimes has come to me and has just said a couple words, and then that's it. But it's been always been like, okay, things aren't going to be so bad. You know what I mean? He's telling me, hey, it's not your time yet, but basically he'll come and say, hey, things are going to get better. Don't worry about it, and similar to something like that. Of course, he's got a real Southern drawl and everything, but, that's neat that you mentioned yours. Um, your grandfather's wear. That's, yeah. What I'd like to do now, he's probably visited me 7 or 8 times. The last 2 times, I thought I was getting smart, right? So I thought that, okay, I'm going to ask all these questions, and it's like the first time I thought, okay, ask a question. I asked, where are you? And he said, I'm here. And then that was it. And I was like, oh, that was a dumb question. So then I was thinking, okay, if he ever comes to me again, what can I ask him? You know? So the last time he came to me, I just asked, are you happy? And he said, yes, you all make me happy. So as boring as that answer is, that was it. And just kind of left. And, it's like boom, boom. It feels like, when you're dreaming, it feels like you dreamed it for, a minute. And really it's been like 8 hours, because you wake up and it's like, oh, wow, and you get I get disappointed whenever I dream about someone like that, or something similar, like dreaming about I won the lottery, and then you wake up and you're like, oh man, come on, you know?
Well, you have won the lottery because you're alive. That's the thing. You're Patrick living your life. You have like another day to live. So it depends how you kind of frame life, really. But one thing to ask you, like, is that partly why you formed your paranormal society? Like, because it seems like you had some challenges kind of growing up. If it's okay to say anyway, you had some challenges growing up, and is it more of your pursuit of like, I want to know more why these things happen, or there are other people out there who might be like in these bad states who kind of feel a bit lost? Like, do you feel like might give them a bit of a push to know more about life and know about themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. At an early age, I was seeing things and feeling things. I was kind of a loner growing up until I was probably in my mid teens or something. But I was always kind of a loner. I was always picked on. I was bullied. all kind of stuff. But my grandmother and her mother and her mother's mother were all kind of like mediums or whatnot. Now they weren't psychics where they weren't reading, tea leaves and your fortunes and stuff, but they were very acceptable to like paranormal things and seeing things and you know what I mean? So I think I kind of inherited a little bit of that. And it's like everybody today is psychic. Everybody's like, oh, I'm psychic. Oh, I'm me. No, I don't even feel it. But I can walk into a place, especially if like one of my ancestors used to be there and feel them, if that makes sense. Like where my grandfather was from, I was walking around the area where the old house was, and I could feel him. I could feel it's like I was stepping back in time. And when I remember looking over at the field, I could see it looked like my grandmother and them out there, in the yard, and it was gone. It was just gone. It was so fast, you know. I don't. So yeah, they would show me that stuff when I was a kid, and growing up, we moved to Columbia, South Carolina, where there was three ghosts that visited us. I think I told you last time, and all three of them happened to be friends of the family. And why they came to visit us, me, my sister, I don't know. I don't know to this day. And there was many times at my grandfather's old house that we would stay in. Again, my great grandfather that came, but there would be other people that would kind of come through. I didn't know who they were. To this day, I don't know who some of them are, but apparently they were all related to us in some way. So,
It's very funny that these are all kind of interlinked, really, because the more investigators that I speak to seem to have some sort of family, at least interest in the paranormal, whether they have a mum or dad that might be a medium or somebody who's dabbled in a few things. So I wonder if it might be something that runs in the family, like you may have been born with something already switched on, even just a little bit, that can adds backing to, obviously, you'll want to know more.
yeah, my mom's family was really cool. You know what I mean? I'm not saying my dad's family's not, but them a lot of them being Catholic, they don't believe. There's only one ghost, the Holy Ghost. You're gonna go to hell. Blasphemer.
Yeah, I've
And
been
all
there.
this stuff. So yeah, I mean, I still get it from some of my dad's side, but my mom's side, they're all Southern Baptists and whatnot. So, but everybody on my mom's side either have seen or had actual encounters with past relatives and things like that. I don't know. It was just always cool to listen to as a kid, and it was not welcomed, but it was okay to talk about it. I talked to my grandfather about his daddy, and stuff like that. It was acceptable to talk about it, and I think that has a lot to do with. I think a lot of it has to do with, and I don't like getting into it, but like religion. So depending on what type of religion you are, I'm not saying there's Catholics that are not, and there's a ton of Catholics that are into the paranormal. You look at all the priests that are on TV doing it, or whatever. But I think Southern Baptists, in my opinion, are more acceptable to have been seeing things because they were not encouraged, but it was okay to talk about. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. Like it's not taboo. If when I went to my dad's mother's house, you didn't talk about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You were talking about the devil. You had to get out of the house, but we did. We would talk about it outside, in the yard or something. But in that house, don't bring that devil in here, So, um, it's yeah. I think you're right, man. I think a lot of it has to do with family, but I think it also has to be what type of family you come from, if that makes
Yeah, no,
sense.
that's very true. But there's interesting similarities. So yeah, I also came from a Catholic background, and also obviously, yeah, as we established last time, both Masons. But yeah, my kind of background growing up, I think we're more Roman Catholic because I have like Italian background. So like Yeah, I have a bit of a mixed family, like a bit of Polish, a bit of Italian, a bit of British in there too. But I've been, yeah, I'm a bit of everything really. But yeah, growing up in Oxford, we went to church every Sunday. I did like communion at the end, and it was a confirmation. I think when you get to a certain age, you have to do confirmation, where I think it's like when you're 13 or 14, you have to accept the Holy Ghost, and you go through eating a piece of wafer. Got my first taste of wine, amazing. But yeah, like, and yeah, admittedly, I actually went back for about 3 or 4 tastings after because I enjoyed it so much, and yeah, they told me off. But anyway, but yeah, back then again, this is nothing against any Catholics, because there are a lot of Catholics out there that are lovely people, but the church that I was part of then was very judgmental, and I wouldn't dare to talk about the experiences I had and was having at the time, because at the time I was dealing with a poltergeist activity in our property. But the things that they were talking about in church, that, as you say, like, we only worship like the one true, and I think in Catholicism it's the saints, it's their version of God, and everything else all around that. And it made me feel like I was dirty at the time, like I was almost evil, but I hadn't done anything. I was just born that way, just like many other people are. And but a lot of people who get brought into the paranormal world essentially don't go in asking. I mean, I would have given anything years ago just to be normal, just to not have these things happening. But I was pulled into it so many times that eventually I had to accept it. But to accept it, I had also to accept myself. And a long time ago, like, the church wouldn't accept me for being me. And I had to kind of make a decision back then, like, okay, well, if the church isn't making me happy, then I need to make my own way and do my own thing. So, but I'd always look back on it fondly. Like, there are a couple of priests that I remember there that were hilarious. A couple that were extremely judgmental, though, but a couple were like, they're just dudes. I think they're in the wrong profession, to be honest with you. I think yeah, they should have been like motorbike builders kind of thing, or like footballers, or like just the kind of people that are just easygoing, hardworking. But yeah, I don't really think they really believed in God personally, anyway, despite their robes. But yeah, I'm really glad, like, years ago, that I had to accept it, and that might not be the solution for everybody. Some people need religion, and that's okay too. But yeah, almost like confronting the paranormal, sometimes you need to remove the barriers of stigma, and stigma can come from family, your social group, it could be your religious institution, different things. Sometimes it's about understanding, like, okay, you are what you are, regardless of whatever you might be part of. But yeah, even like when I obviously became a Mason years ago, obviously I know we're not supposed to talk about the specific details inside of it, though, but to be part of it, you have to agree to the fact that you believe in a higher being. For us, because we're not Scottish right? We're the other kind. I forget what we're called, though, but we have to swear allegiance to the Queen or the King in Britain as well. So I'm a bit 50-50 about royals as it is, though, but it feels a bit strange. But also we have to state our religious beliefs, and I kind of confused them at the time, saying that I don't assign to any religion, though, but I'm what you call a spiritualist. Like, I'm just that way of being, and they had like a tick box, But that's not on the tick box. What do you mean? Should I just say this? No, I'm a spiritualist. No, in the end, but thankfully, like, they're really accepting of it, though, because I didn't think they had come across that before. But they said that actually, technically, it's not against anything that our requirements anyway. Like, as long as you're a good person. But that's the thing. Like, you'll be surprised. Yeah, the amount of places that are accepting of that. Where previously you would assume they might be a bit closed off. So yeah, my experience with them was actually quite nice. Actually, they were quite sweet about it. So. But yeah, one thing I was going to lead into is, like, last time we spoke, you said you were doing some investigations. Like, are there any stories or situations that happened that you feel comfortable sharing?
Man, I tell you, one I'll save kind of for last because it's going to freak you out. But
I don't need sleep. It's fine.
Huh? You don't need
I don't need sleep. It's fine. Neither do the viewers. They're okay.
Yeah. So let's see. We went to West Virginia. I don't know if you're familiar with United States, but it's north of us. It's about 10 and a half hour drive. We went and investigated an abandoned amusement park called Lake Shawnee, which used to be a Indian reservation, not reservation, but camp and site, and then a huge burial mounds and everything. Marshall University came in and excavated a bunch of it before they ran out of funding, and said there were over 10,000 Native Americans buried there. Um,
Yeah.
but it used to be an amusement park that they built in like the 50s, I think. And a bunch of little kids got killed different times. One got killed. She was on the swings, and a delivery truck backed up and killed her. There
Oh,
were several drownings. They had like what they called cement ponds. A lady dropped her son off to go swimming, and when the park was closing, couldn't find him. And when they went and searched the pond or whatever, his arm had gotten caught in the drain, and he drowned. There's just lots of people like that that have died there. A lot is really sad. A lot of the children, they see a lot of Native American apparitions and stuff like that. So we investigated there. We got a couple EVPs. Nothing like what we really, but it was so cold. It was like 20 degrees, right? It was very, very cold. And while we do like investigating when it's cooler, I think that was just a little bit too cold for us Southern folks. Um, but from there, me and another team member went a little further up north, a couple hours, to Pleasantville, West Virginia, home of the Mothman. So we were able to go up there and go in one of the TNT facilities, which was pretty awesome. We were so tired though from staying up all night the night before that we really didn't get to conduct actual investigation, but we got to visit it ourselves and run through it and stuff. And we visited the Mothman Museum. Um, a couple other investigations we did. We went to Fort Gaines, Georgia. I don't know if you saw the documentary on Amazon called The Haunting Lodge. We went there, stayed there for the weekend. Didn't really get anything. Never once felt like there was something in there. I think a lot of that maybe had to do with TV. So that was a disappointment. But we did get to go to the Kalokamoki mounds, which was Native Americans as well there, and got to talk to a lot of the rangers and things with that. There's been several other investigations, but the one I really want to talk about that kind of freaked me out, and that's why I asked, hey, you ever had anything like stick with you for a few days, like you just can't get off your mind, like I can't
I think
believe.
this might be the new thing to stick with me now. So yeah, yeah. Thanks in advance.
Have you ever heard of a location in North Georgia called Corpsewood Manor?
No, but it sounds inviting.
So, a brief history on it. Corpsewood Manor was these two men. They were lovers, and I think one was an antiques dealer. Well, they wanted to move way out in the woods somewhere. They were like from Tennessee or something, and so they sold everything they had, and they built this like little mansion, this mini mansion, out in the middle of nowhere in the woods in North Georgia. They were Satanists, and they would have satanic orgy parties. Um, they were highly satanic in their beliefs, did a lot of satanic rituals, not to mention these sex parties that they had or whatever. Again, you can check it out once I'm done. There's several books written on it called Corpsewood Manor uh, or the Corpsewood Murders. So there was a gentleman that came to one of the parties, and he decided that, hey, I'm gonna rob them, and I'm gonna get my buddies to help me because he thought they were rich. Well, they came, tried to rob them, didn't have any money, end up killing them. Not only did they kill the two guys, but they also killed. They had two huge, like mastiff dogs, like really tall dogs, like 4 foot high dogs. Those big dogs. Killed them as well. They got caught, all that stuff. But now it's just kind of a shell out in the middle of the woods, way out in the woods, and it's extremely haunted with paranormal activity that we've always been told, mainly due, I guess, to the satanic rituals that was performed there. So I went out there by myself, which is a big no-no. But I happened to be in the area from coming back from a place where I was working, and I thought, hey, I got a couple hours. I'll just go through there real quick and check it out. And then if we get anything or whatnot, then I'll come back and let the team know, and we'll come back at another time. So it's kind of hard to get to. I'm not going to really say how to get to it. You can Google it and find out for yourself. But when I first stepped onto the property, once I got to where it was where I could see the some of the remnants of it, I felt like somebody was watching me. And it was a weird feeling. Like the hairs on the back of my neck was standing up, the hairs, my arms and things, and I was like, okay, maybe I should just turn around and go. And I thought, no, I'm here. I'm going to see what I can do. I started walking through some of the stuff. Yeah, a lot of it is gone, either burnt, destroyed, or whatever. And I'm just kind of walking around. I think there used to be these huge gargoyles up at the top and stuff, and these satanic, like, little demon type figures around the home and whatnot. But when I stepped into the actual where the home would be, where the gentlemen, I guess, were murdered, I instantly felt fear. I felt like somebody was standing behind me. And when I turned around, there was nothing there. I started to walk a little bit, and I thought I could hear somebody walking behind me. So when I stopped, you could hear like the leaves crunching. And I thought, okay, either it's a deer, I was trying to, in my head, okay, it's a bird, it's got to be something. But there was nothing there, and it would stop. When I would start walking, it would start walking. When I stopped, it stopped. So I was like, after about 10 minutes, I'm like, I think I just need to get out. I'm spooking myself or something. So I started walking around, and there's this one brick house, and I went over and I put my hand on it. And when I put my hand on it, it was like a shock. Like the hair on my arm, and right now the hair on my neck and area is sticking up again. But I felt this sense of pain, like burning, like I was burning, and I didn't know why. And when I took my hand off, I decided I was going to get out of there. So I started kind of not running, but I was moving pretty fast. And within doing so, there was something when I was coming around. There's like this huge oak tree right before you get around to it. And something pulled me back. Something pulled me by the back of my shirt and pulled me like not to go. And I remember reaching back, and there was nothing there. And when I turned around, there was a dark shadow figure on the side of that brick wall that went from the side and then went straight down, and like it was on the ground coming towards me. And I remember just thinking, Lord help me, and I was trying to recite I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember what was going on. My brain, I couldn't run. So I was just kind of like, I was just like stuck in fright, like I was like, here I am, a grown man. Something has physically grabbed me and won't let me go. How am I going to get out of here? I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. My chest was beaten out of my chest. And as I was watching the shadow come on the ground, and it was on the ground and it was coming, it started to come, and then it just stopped. And it stopped there, and then it kind of would act like it was going to materialize, and it just vanished. It just vanished right in front of me, and the shirt let go, and I ran as fast as I could. And when I got to my car, I was trying to hurry up and get out of there, and I was going down the road, and like these emotions come over me that I've never had, and I start to like cry, and I'm like, this is crazy. I've never been that scared to where I just wanted to cry. I don't know if it was because I was glad I got out of there or from what I was feeling, but it's one of those things. Is it because of what was performed there? I don't know. Do they feel like maybe I was coming to be a threat to? I don't know. I didn't even get started. As a matter of fact, I think I left one of my K2 meters there. I just didn't care. I was like 30, 40 bucks, whatever. I just left. I didn't get to pull out my EVP recorder. I didn't get to do it. So I felt a little ashamed that I didn't even get to start to investigate. But I told some of the team members, and I said, we'll go back, but we'll go back when it's, colder again. This was, I want to say, in April, mid-April, late April, I think. So yeah, it has stuck with me for a couple months now, and it's one of those things where I can't shake. I can't figure out what in the world is going on. So I've been going through like these little rabbit holes, and I've talked to several people that live around the area, and they've had similar experiences of things following them, and a couple of them had experiences where something attached themselves to them and followed them home and came home with them. No, one thing I left out when I was going to my truck, and I was just running so fast. I remember looking at the back of my truck, and at the back of my truck were two dogs. And when I backed up, they weren't there. And when I was getting out of there, they weren't anywhere around there, but there was two big dogs, like really hairy dogs. And they were just standing there. And I don't, that's one of the things I thought, oh my God, I don't want to run over these dogs. So I yelled out, get, I was yelling all kind of stuff, to be honest with you. And I called my wife, and she was like, what's wrong? And I couldn't really tell her, because if I tell her, then she's going to tell me not to go back to these places and stuff. And because she already worries enough about it, So that's a story I kind of been saving a little bit for you guys, or for, the public or whatever, just because it took me a while. It took me about 2 weeks. As funny as it sounds, to not sleep with the light on and the TV on,
I don't blame you. Yeah, I mean, I'd say for one, how incredibly brave you are. I mean, if I was in that situation, I'd probably faint. I'm such a wuss at pretty much most situations. But yeah, I'll ask you, like, thinking about the dogs, like, would you be able to describe them as being a particular breed, or were they almost like dog shape?
They were just dog shaped. They were tall and hairy, and I couldn't see their face because of all the hair around it. They had a bunch of little hair. But they were standing there.
So when people have interactions with these kind of entities, like, this is me assuming, I might be wrong anyway, so I don't want to tell you what to think anyway, but
no,
these kind of entities tend to have a feeling when they're quite that scary feeling. They're usually ones that aren't human, maybe, like, they might not have been human, and that's when you tend to get the most intense feelings. And they tend to kind of come in the form of animals sometimes as well, because they can be and do anything, ultimately. I've had interactions with similar entities myself, and I can definitely attest to the fact that it does makes you feel emotions. Like, it's part of it's the adrenal shock. It's like, okay, I've left the situation, and then everything hits you, But these things and these encounters tend to affect you in a way where it just seems to release something. It connects with you so deep in your soul that it just lets something out. And you could question like why it's doing that. Is it just the sheer intensity of it? Have you because you've never met anything like that before? But yeah, like would you ever go back there again to investigate, or do you think you might just say, okay, I'm going to call this a day for now?
I would not go by myself. I would
Yeah,
bring
that's wise.
some protection, meaning some scriptures or salt or crystals, my rosary in the truck. Didn't think I needed it, right? The rosary my aunt gave me, and I think I was just vulnerable. I think I made an amateur mistake. One of the things I will say is whenever I was like being held for, it seemed like forever. It was probably 30 seconds, right? Or less, but it felt like forever. I was hearing some sort of like, it sounded like a group kind of chanting, but it was deep. And I don't
Low
know if I
vibration.
walked in on some sort of residual energy that was going on at that time or what, but I think I stepped into something I shouldn't have at that particular time for whatever reason.
During my kind of my knowledge binge years ago, because I wanted to learn more about different beliefs, whether I believed in them or not. I did look into kind of Satanism as well at the time. Not saying that I wanted to be one, just want at least get an understanding. Okay, why do people worship these things, or why do they follow this way of thinking? I still can't get my head around the idea of people wanting to summon negative entities, because we're only human. Like, we only see like such a tiny substrata of reality, like compared to like the infinite beyond. Like, we have no idea what's beyond out there, and there are things out there that are so far beyond us, so powerful, you don't know what you could be inviting. So why would you want to play with that? And do you do it for
Yeah.
power? Do you do it to maybe prove that there's something more? Some people do get drunk on power. So when you invite these negative entities, like, they tend to draw on those who seek misery and feel horrible, or those who are vulnerable, really, like people who are depressed or sad. And for example, like myself, and that horrible damn thing followed me back home and harassed me for years. It connected to me because of the trauma that I was going through. And so at the time when that happened, I hope you don't mind me asking a bit more anyway, like, at the time, were you going through anything in your life at the time? Or were you under a lot of stress, or was there something going on?
Yeah. No, there was a lot of stress. Again, I think I left myself open. I had a lot on my mind. Uh, was struggling with work. Some personal issues as well. Um, at the time, and it's corny, but I've had a cat that helped me through tons of stuff. And she was 15 at the time and having real bad problems, and we were looking at probably putting her down. And long story short, she actually passed away about 2 weeks ago. So I was constantly taking her to the vet. I was worried about her. Um, the stress, to answer your question, yeah, the stress was there.
Well, I only wish you, every positivity now, anyway, because I think it's brave enough going to these places to investigate and share these experiences and learn more about the unknown. I learned a lot from Christine, one investigation, like, about positivity, about when you go into these situations, obviously never going there expecting entertainment, like, you must perform for me now, I must see this and that and the other.
Yeah.
And I know you're not the kind of person to do that, though, but also don't go in there if you've had a bad day. Basically, like, you go in there, you get excited about these experiences, though, but if you go in there with a high stress and hard time, you emit more lower vibrational energy. And when you have entities that seem to enjoy that kind of thing, they'll just go, yeah, I'll latch on to you, and maybe have a bit of fun with you, kind of thing. But for you as a human, it's quite frightening.
Yeah, because I went out there just to take a few pictures and stuff. I wasn't going to stay long. Because I'll admit, you know what I mean? Like, I knew, okay, I'm by myself. I can't believe I'm actually out here by myself. I'm a big chicken sometimes, and I was like, well, who knows when I'm going to be back in this area? And that was just, it was like 20 minutes not even out of my way to go home. So I was like, What am I going to say? Yeah, I'm so close. And I hate feeling like that when I'm so, like when we went to Lake Shawnee, I'm like, God, it's only 2 hours away. When am I going to be in West Virginia again to go? And then when I end up going,
Forget that.
was in
Forget that.
April. So it's one of those things where I wanted to go. Would I do it again? No, no way, man. Um, the thing that comes close to it is there's a lot of mausoleums in Savannah, the Catholic cemetery. Right outside the Catholic cemetery, this one is open to everything, but the mausoleums there, and they've kind of been neglected, right? Like you can actually see in them, like where they've been cracked and stuff and everything, just really bad stuff. And I had went out there one time by myself during the day, and I was inside of the mausoleum itself. You could open the doors, and walk in and everything. So I was in, and when I was in there, something just said, leave, and it didn't say it nicely. It didn't yell it. It said it in a tone to where I need to get out of here. And I left. And that's flashes back on me all the time.
I bet. Trust those instincts. They'll be your best protection. It seems. It makes me think of like. I have no explanation for this even to this day. All I can do is explain what happened. I've got no evidence to support it as well. But basically, a long time ago, when I was beginning to test out the idea of being a medium, I joined a circle with a friend of mine, and he's the son of a very advanced medium. Also is a friend of mine too, and we're just learning, experimenting together, and I learned a lot from him. He's such a nice guy, and he learned how to channel from his mum. Channeling in itself, I wouldn't recommend anybody goes into that easily, because that can be really dangerous. So with me saying that, I'm not recommending that anybody give it a try. Only do it if you have the experience and protection. Don't do it alone, etc., etc. So I feel like it's one of those jackass statements. Don't try this at home, like with a jackass logo on it. No. But yeah, we did this back at my house years ago, and I went into it not believing it. I thought it was just okay. I didn't expect it to work, but he had done it before, which I didn't know. But he kind of sat on this sat on the bed at the time, and just went into his space, and eventually he invited something, and I don't know whether he chose to invite it or if it just came in to speak. But when I sat there in the room, like, the gravity, whenever big things happen in my life, paranormal things, like gravity just goes, it's like everything intensifies, like gravity pulls you down. The room got darker. It was actually daytime as well. The room kind of grew darker. I thought, it doesn't feel right. I thought, okay, just don't panic, stay calm. And all of a sudden he started to speak like a language that, in a voice that wasn't his voice. It sounded like somebody completely different. It was very guttural. It was actually a woman's voice as well, and he was a man. It was actually a female voice, but it sounded very guttural as well, like it is like hoarse almost. And it started speaking a language like. But the weird thing was, when it began to speak, I understood what it was saying. I was thinking, but you're not speaking English though, but why? And the weirdest thing was, I had a conversation with this thing for about. I think the clock actually was 10 minutes though, but I felt like I was talking to it for hours and hours and hours, almost like an entire day. Like, it felt like time went really slowly during this moment. But I remember bits of the conversation, like, because I remember asking it, what are you? And it said it was ISIS. And I thought, well, after that thing, of what I do remember, I thought, well, ISIS, they're just one of the made up gods from a long time ago, basically. It's just something people used to believe a long time ago, and that was that. And I thought, well, and after having that experience, I began to think, are these things real? Or was it just saying that name? Was it lying about what it was? But I remember asking it a few questions, like, where did you come from? And it says something about coming from afar and a long time ago. And, it was almost quite irritated, like it didn't have the time to wait for me. I thought, it was almost like it just was urging me to ask questions. But after then, I don't remember what I said to it. But I could understand that the language it was speaking. It sounded like Egyptian, but it sounded like something older than that, like almost like Coptic kind of thing. But yeah, I was talking to this thing, and it was the weirdest thing. It felt like in the room, like I was talking to like a giant, like there was a humongous creature in the room, but it was just us. And I could still see in reality that my friend was just there, but he didn't look like my friend. He looked like somebody's different, like his face looked different. yeah, but once it decided to leave, it said goodbye, and it said thank you strangely. And I thought, well, what did I do for you? Why did I thank you? But then I realised I don't remember what I've just said. And yeah, and my friend eventually came to. He was like exhausted, like he had to have a drink of water, like he was completely like depleted of energy. And I said to him, like, what on earth just happened? He says, I don't know, I wasn't there. Like, what did it say? It's the weirdest thing. So, like I said, I have no evidence to support that, and I don't remember exactly the conversation that me and it had. But ever since then, I began to question, like, this channeling thing might be real, because I saw it firsthand, I felt it, and I'm experienced enough to know when somebody's pulling my leg. And also it's the fact that it's my friend that I knew for many years. He's not a BSer, really. Like, he does tell the truth. He doesn't like to mess around with these kind of things. But since then, I've had a lot of respect for him. And I also kind of checked up on him every now and again after that, just to make sure that he was okay. But yeah, it made me begin to realise that there are things out there that we don't understand. But also, don't mess with it. Don't go into it lightly, though, because that thing was frightening. It's like I said, it's almost like being confronted with a planet. If you can imagine, like, you're a tiny little, almost like an ant, basically, compared to a planet. It's something that's so vast and so powerful and so old. It's quite frightening to comprehend, like, the gravity of it all. So yeah, it's something I've never done since. And the only reason why I did it at the time, like I say, is because I didn't believe it would happen. Then it did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to know what it was one day. Maybe one day I may meet it out there, but I don't believe it was an evil thing. But I don't believe it was benevolent either. I think it was neutral. It was just, it was there. It was there, and you were passing by it, at a moment in time. But yeah, I don't understand how he could speak a language that I've never heard him speak before, in a voice that I've never heard before. But also the fact that I understood it. The thing is that I only remember that I understood it, but I don't remember what it was saying, if that makes sense. So it's a bit tricky to explain, really. But yeah, so like I say, don't try this at home with these kind of things. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I need to check up on you in a few days just to check if you're all right. Anyway, like, I don't want you to sort of be too afraid after these experiences, though. And I think you might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, the first 2 weeks, taking a shower, oh man, I just constantly pulling the curtain back, like that I,
Yeah.
something in there with me. But, and then I had to figure out, okay, it's in my head. It's in my head. Just, it stayed there. If something was going to happen, it would have already happened or whatever. So I have to kind of psych myself up with that. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah. But the best defense is raising your vibration. It's weird how it works anyway, but just trying to raise your vibration, like, just do more of the hobbies that you love, which probably is more paranormal investigations anyway, which may lead you to more experiences like that. But listen to more of your favorite music, do more of your hobbies, basically do everything that you can to move yourself out of the mindset. And that the higher your vibration gets, the less power these things have over you, and then you realize actually, like, you have the power. It may seem like they have the power and they can frighten you and do all sorts, but you actually have the abundance of energy here, and they don't. And that's the thing. It's always worth remembering is like I say, you do hold the power here. So if you want them to tell them to F off, then do it.
yeah, experiences like that don't happen very often. At least not it doesn't, and those are the ones that kind of stick out in the back. I mean, I've seen stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen apparitions, I've seen full body, I've been touched and scratched a little and that kind of stuff. Nothing like this, to where, I mean, it physically grabbed my shirt and I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like, who is this? And I think if it wanted to, could have hurt me. But I think me trying to remember a prayer or anything like that, I think maybe it helped. I don't know.
Prayers are another way of raising vibrations. So it depends on your beliefs anyway, though. But whether you believe in them or not, just saying it just helps you to just think about higher vibrational things. You emit that, and then you weaken these things. So in a way, yeah, it's every chance that would work. I think hopefully from this point, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen again to you. But also maybe it's something good to learn from, really, though. That's something that you might share with your team, really, like that might help to protect them. So maybe a good way to think about it is that maybe that was meant to happen, that you could learn to be a better example for your team as well. They'd say, yeah, hey, this thing happened, I didn't expect it to happen though, and this is how I handled it, and
Absolutely. I mean, it's something I want to share with you, something with your viewers and some of the people that, may be watching when I speak about this or something is, don't do this stuff by yourself, no matter how experienced you think you are, right? Like, it was stupid enough. I could have got hurt. I could have broke my leg and been stuck out there, anything. So,
Yeah.
not only kind of attacked, if you will, but, that's one time out of the hundreds that I've actually been kind of attacked, or if you want to say attacked, I'm not going to say attacked, but uh, stuck with me, man. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's even freaky right now to talk about it. And I keep looking over, at my doorway kitchen to make sure
I
it's
get it.
nothing coming around the corner.
I'm going to
But
protect you. No, don't worry. I'll protect you. I'm quite good at scaring these things off. I have experience. Even though I'm over here, I have ways. But if not, I can pass the message over to Christine. See if she might be able to help you as well. She's really good at dealing with these kind of things. So if you'd like me to, I could pass your contact details over. And I know she couldn't join us for this call anyway, though. But she's brilliant at dealing with negative entities, though. But I think you'll be okay anyway. I think you'll be all right, though. But it's better to be safe than sorry, kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's only put me off my next investigation, really, because I was kind of looking to. I was talking about exploring the Hellfire Caves and just looking into the Hellfire Club with Christine. And I don't know if you know, there used to be like an old society of Oxford University professors a long time ago anyway, but they used to kind of try to summon the devil back in the day by reading various scripture and doing various things. And but yeah, they used to do it in one of the colleges within Oxford University, and the Hellfire Caves a few miles out as well. So their area is quite well known for kind of activity. And I was kind of curious, I've always wanted just to sit there for a few hours and just figure out, okay, is this thing real? Is there more to this story? But it's one story that's really freaked me out. Because the story goes that one night the Hellfire Club disbanded because one of the members went crazy during a ritual and ran directly into a wall and disappeared. And that's like the rest of the club apparently went crazy. Like they saw it happen and were never the same since, really. So, but again, that's local legend though. So something similar may have happened though, but that may have been exaggerated over time. But I'm interested to spend some time in these places to figure out the real story. So yeah, it's one local story that's always fascinated me. But yeah, Oxford's full of really weird stories because obviously it's a city that's thousands of years old. Like Oxford, I think Oxford University itself was still in operation back when the Aztec Empire was still in operation. It's older than America itself, as no surprise really though. But so you imagine the amount of history, the things that have happened over the last few thousand years. Yeah, it's a fascinating city. There's a lot of weird energies in Oxford. Like not all bad, some of them are really nice. So yeah, obviously they used some locations to film Harry Potter, but there is some real magic in those places that they don't know about. But a few of the local families in Oxford know these stories and these secret places. So
what fascinates me and makes me want to go to investigations like that is I don't want to be a Satanist. I don't want to worship the devil, but it interests me. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, oh, it's pulling me in. Yeah, it's so interesting to me that
yeah,
I
we
want
want
to
to
check it out.
understand, don't
Not
you?
only that, but I want to see. I want to see if it's real. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like there's a place here in Savannah called the Run, where supposedly there was satanic rituals in the woods and all this other stuff and everything. When we were teenagers, we would go out there and stuff. Never had any experiences or stuff, but it was one of those things where it was like, I want to experience it. I want to see if I can see what people are saying that they've seen out here and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. But then again, it's another situation where it's like, I don't know. But it's just it's an adrenaline rush, I guess, man. It's the only way even though I got the crap scared out of me, I gotta go back. but I'm not going back by myself, you know, and I can't wait till the next one. Yeah. You know,
Well, I hope the next time around that you get some answers, and also
yeah.
sometimes going back to a place where you've had quite a traumatic event helps to reframe it, maybe, so it affects you less as well. Sometimes that does help. I'm sure you guys will be okay, but
Oh, yeah.
let us know how you get on if you do that. And
I'll take that advice
obviously, you're an
always.
experienced investigator, so I wouldn't really sort of say, have to say be careful though. But yeah, but be careful as you can be. But yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time to share more stories, and it's great to have you back. Yeah, I think you're braver than you think. It's perfectly okay to be affected by these events in that way.
I
It's
appreciate
like,
it, man. We do got a couple things coming up. Let's see. We'll be in Seneca, South Carolina, where I'm doing a quick paranormal class for people out there for free. And then the next day, we're going to investigate Stump House Tunnel, which is a tunnel that was running through a mountain in South Carolina. They were building the train through it, and the Civil War happened, and it never happened, but all these people got killed inside of it and everything. So that's a pretty cool investigation that's coming up. So hopefully I'll be able to share some of that with you next time.
oh, that'd be exciting. No, you're more than welcome to come back. You're welcome back anytime. But it's just nice to just meet such a chilled out character. Yeah, long may you keep on doing what you do. And but yeah, I think this story helps to help other people out there who've been through unexplained experiences that they find is
We
quite
call
scary.
it
So we've all been there.
spooky dookie.
I've been, I've wrapped myself a few times with a few situations in my life, and
Like, man, I had a
yeah,
spooky
it's
dookie
normal
when
to
I
crap
was
yourself, basically. Spooky dookie, yes, I like that. Yeah, over here we have over here we have it's actually a football expression. Like, we have a squeaky bum time. So it's a bum over here means obviously backside. So squeaky bum time is in like. So it's a scary moment. You'll say squeaky bum time. It's so stupid, but anyway. You have a fantastic evening anyway, and hopefully we'll speak to you again soon. And yeah, you be safe, and thanks again, Patrick.
Appreciate it, Stan the man. Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
Bye.
Giving a voice to those without a choice, sharing dreams and blowing off steam. We'll lend you a hand, we'll let you stand, sharing stories about the unknown. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium, learning from each other, breaking barriers. A message of hope, birthed from the unknown. Who you gonna call? I'm not a ghostbuster. No proton packs, just crossing streams of knowledge. It's not so scary when things get hairy. It's not the paranormal, just future normal. Breaking barriers, no longer the carrier. Releasing the fear and replacing it with knowledge. Understanding each other, we uncover a whole new point of view within you. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium, learning from each other, breaking barriers. A message of hope, birthed from the unknown. The only stream we need to cross is the platforms to get the message across. Knowing each other, sister to brother. No ghost or spirit or demon will ever get the better of this medium. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium, learning from each other, breaking barriers. A message of hope, birthed